breaking down the deals, data, and disruption shaping global markets. You're listening to the Daily Ledger with Dennis Sert.
Hey folks, it is Friday, June 26, 2026. You're listening to the Daily Ledger Show, and I'm your host, Dennis Sert. Great to be here with you tonight. Nice. Just doing a quick mic check. Looking good. All systems a go. Got a good haircut. Looking good. Yeah, we got some good stories we're going to get into tonight. We're going to talk about Zuckerberg urges Meta to explore working on Polymarket and Kalshi. Chinese AI models close the gap with Anthropic and OpenAI. Dovetailing that, DeepSeek plans hiring spree in escalation of China's AI talent war. OpenAI limits access to new models, citing government security concerns. Apple raises prices on Macs, iPads by $200 or more on some models. We got some Supergirl stories. Apparently, it's not doing too good. Only $40 million. That's not too good. Opening weekend, Friday. And then finally, we're going to talk about an Avengers Endgame Infinity Vision update, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow if you're on Instagram Reels or TikTok or really any platform. And then make sure to share the shorts and the TikToks and the Reels, because those are where I get most of my views. I have a lot of fun clip farming the show, so make sure you share those around. Great. Let's just jump in. Zuckerberg urges Meta to explore working with Polymarket and Kalshi. Mr. Zuckerberg's plan for Arena, a prediction markets app that Meta is building, also include appealing to 18 to 34-year-old users. Yeah, wow. So apparently Zuck's working on a new project, right? The first one was Metaverse 2021. Then it was like AI, Meta AI, and then now it's prediction markets, Arena. How fun. Yeah. They've been doing so many layoffs that, I wonder where the cash is going. Well, now you don't have to wonder anymore. The app that Meta is creating, called Arena, could allow people to make bets on practically anything. Okay, so it's basically a clone of Polymarket and Kalshi. And then it says, internally, Meta's executives have said Arena is different from Polymarket and Kalshi, which accept real money wagers because it will instead rely on video game-like points. Oh, wow. So it's like a gamified thing. But Mr. Zuckerberg has made Arena a top priority, and his plans for it go deeper than previously known. Wow. He has asked Meta executives to talk with Polymarket and Kalshi, though it's unclear how the partnerships may work. So they may, Polymarket and Kalshi have a developer API out there. So, Meta can just build right on top of that. So that's interesting. Wow. From Layoff Hedge on X, report Meta employees praying to be in the next round of layoffs. A new bombshell report says CTO Andrew Boseworth admits morale is the worst it's ever been. Says the way they've handled restructuring was atrocious. This is the same CTO who told unhappy staff to, quote, just quit last year. Nice. Now employees are saying they believe severance is the only way out. Since November 2022, Meta has cut 32,600 jobs, fired 3,600 low performers who had good performance reviews. Wow. Reassigned 7,000 more to AI training jobs, one of which an employee called a gulag. Nice. Hey, man, if the paycheck's coming in, you can always quit. it's a volunteer thing. You know what I mean? You don't have to be employed. Like, I'm kind of with Mr. CTO Andrew Bosworth when he says just quit. I mean, that's literally what it is. Like, if you think it's a gulag, just quit. Like, literally. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a voluntary thing. It's like, you know, if you're in a bad relationship, just break up. You know what I mean? It's a voluntary thing. Like, I don't want to I don't want to sound like a broken record, but like, I'm just trying to hammer home the point here. Just quit is valid. Chinese AI models close the gap with Anthropic and OpenAI. Silicon Valley engineers recently flocked to a new Chinese technology from a Chinese company, Zai, Z AI, that is almost as good as its American competitors, but much cheaper. Yeah, so we've sort of seen this show before. Apparently, it's as good as Fable and Mythos from Anthropic, which are no longer accessible to the public. And then yeah, that kind of goes in with OpenAI, whose ChatGPT or GPT 5.6 model is also not accessible to the public. Really, it's just entered this period of being reviewed by the government, so that's fun. And so they're kind of saying like, oh, this better not be the norm, but warned the recent trend of the White House restricting industry activity on national security grounds on a case-by-case basis shouldn't become the norm. So that's kind of the big story, the big quote today. Yeah, so back to the Chinese AI. I mean, this is kind of what we're seeing with Fable restricted and GPT 5.6. The gap between the US and China is very slim. Wow. Wow. The Chinese models still face two big hurdles to widespread use in the US: concerns about their ties to the Chinese government and complaints that Chinese companies have unfairly used American technology to build the cheaper models. Hey man, whoever wins, you know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't matter how you get there. If you win, you're, winner takes all. You're the fucking winner. You know what I mean? So it's like unfairly used American technology. Fuck off. It's like, if you didn't win, you lost. You're a fucking loser. You know what I mean? DeepSeek plans hiring spree in escalation of Chinese AI talent war, Financial Times. Advertised roles suggest company focus on commercializing frontier research. The company said on Friday today it had launched a recruitment drive to, quote, expand every department, and, quote, and that, quote, many teams are expected to double in size. Oh, wow. 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 So we know about the R1 from last year. Wow. Wow. Very nice. Apple raises prices on Macs, iPads by $200 or more on some models. Wow. Increases come after a week after Tim Cook said higher memory costs made them, quote, unavoidable. Yeah. Well, apparently this huge like memory shortage came in the last week or so. And so the price for like DDR4 R4 or just like memory just shot up. And so Apple got affected, seems like, and a lot of other big players seem to have been affected by that. MacBook Air rose $200 to $1,300. MacBook Pro increased $300 to $2,000. Entry level MacBook Neo increased $100 to $700. Yeah. So there's this like random boomer in the comments. He's basically advocating for communism. He's basically saying that, he's accusing the shareholders of pocketing the revenue and the profit and the executives rather than putting it into the price. And then I said, it ain't greed, bro. The execs will be fired if their profit drops the next shareholder meeting. Yeah, memory is kind of expensive now, actually. Yeah. So, anyways, Supergirl isn't doing too well. Who would have seen that coming? From Geeks and Gamers, Supergirl box office starts soft with $8.25 million in previews as fears grow. Wow. Oh my God. Early preview estimates suggest Supergirl brought in approximately 8.25 million through its Wednesday and Thursday preview screenings, a figure that points towards an opening weekend of roughly $40 million. Wow, that's like, by the way, that's like half of Disney Star Wars's The Mandalorian and Grogu flop from like last month. So that's like The Mandalorian and Grogu did twice as good as what Supergirl is about to do on its first weekend. And The Mandalorian and Grogu movie was literally the worst performing Star Wars movie ever. Yeah. So Disney they're just trying to get their little ESG scores up, but times have changed. Times have changed and nobody cares. 40 million, Those expectations are slowly eroded over the past several weeks as pre-sales fail to generate momentum, with independent tracking services eventually forecasting an opening as low as the mid $30 million range. One of DC's weakest starts, an opening of around $40 million, would place Supergirl around the weakest launches for a modern superhero film carrying this level of studio investment. Wow. Reviews are terrible. Oh, Toy Story 5 is projected to remain in the number one film in the North America box office during its second weekend. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, apparently the reviews have just been terrible. So like I was saying, The Mandalorian and Grogu made about $80 million, so $82 million on its 3-day weekend. First 3-day weekend, yeah. Wow. That Park Place Supergirl box office stumbles out of the gate, opens worse than The Mandalorian and Grogu. James Gunn's DC universe desperately needed a win. Instead, Supergirl has taken its first box office flight with numbers that are raising even more questions about the future of Warner Bros.' rebooted superhero franchise. According to Variety, Supergirl earned just $7.8 million in Thursday preview screenings ahead of its opening weekend. Wow. It's even more concerning for a production carrying a reported $170 million budget before marketing costs. Oh, no. Wow. James Gunn's momentum appears to be slipping. It turns out he didn't even write the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which was like his little golden child. Apparently, the whole movie was written by this lady named Nicole Perlman, who developed the initial treatment and screenplay as part of Marvel's writing program, working on the project for about 2 years, including selecting the team and outlining the story. And then Gunn came on the project. back when he was working at Marvel. So, turns out, because Guardians 1 was kind of critically acclaimed as one of the best Marvel movies ever. And it's like, oh my God, James Gunn, he built his reputation off that, but he didn't even do it. He's a fucking fraud. And so now it's like, oh no, his momentum is slipping. Yeah, that's because he's being found out. That little bitch. Oh my God. Now, Supergirl appears to be opening with substantially less enthusiasm than Warner Bros. Likely anticipated. Yeah. And finally, Geeks and Gamers, Avengers Endgame Infinity Vision release has slightly new title and details revealed. So I learned that, I guess, Avengers Endgame is re-releasing in September. So on September 25th, Avengers Endgame Encore will be released in Infinity Vision. I mean, so there's just, and so I guess there's some like couple extra scenes. There's a custom introduction. Okay. Of course, Infinity Vision is just something they made up because they couldn't get IMAX because Dune 3 beat them. Dune 3 got chosen over this movie, over Avengers Doomsday, which is kind of funny. So they totally just made up Infinity Vision. It's like, okay, are they going to keep Infinity Vision after, the Infinity Saga, right? After Avengers, right? Is every movie after this that has absolutely nothing to do with the Infinity War saga, is it going to have Infinity Vision? Like, what relation will it have then, right? So anyways, are they going to go back to IMAX ever if they have the opportunity? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think we're gonna leave it there. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.